Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Super Metroid. In the last part we got some more items and now we're gonna go get some more. Namely we got the speed booster and we did our first Shinespark to get up to this part of the area in UpKraids area rather. This is actually one of my least favorite corridors in the room if you don't know what to do. We'll find out why that is momentarily. Just make sure you have plenty of power bombs. Mind you, if you stop at your ship, you should have more than enough. And at the end of it, we get an E-tank. But since you just noticed I placed a power bomb, that's not all! As it explodes, we find out that there is a new pathway that we can go through. Which just has more power bomb. Power bomb blocks. I don't think you can actually make it through that without the first power bomb upgrade, so yeah, make sure you have that. And we come to this room. Make sure you land exactly where I do, because otherwise you won't be able to get both of these missile tanks. You'll only be able to get one at a time. They do intend you to get both at this one point, but if you fall all the way down, you'll get to backtrack all the way through that, which is not fun. However, since I knew that was coming ahead of time, I knew to do that. First playthrough, you probably won't. Yeah, well. And it's here we find out we're actually just west of that one part of UpKraids area we were in before. Where we first fought the green space pirates. However, I'm going to cut back to the room near Tourian towards the bottom of it so we can bomb this block, which has a power bomb door behind it. We want to come here if we want to get 100%, because this is an item I actually very often forget exists until post-game. Freeze up those little X-Parasite things, run, and Shinespark up. And we get our first super missile upgrade. That's nice. And quite obviously, the only way out of here is left rather, which has a lot of spikes. I recommend coming here a bit later, I suppose, but if you have as much energy tanks as I do, you can make it through there no problem. Plus, we're going to get another one to refill those rather shortly. Now, I mentioned in the last part, there were a couple of secret techniques you could do with the power bombs and such, now that we have those. So let me get that up. First off, we're back in the lower part of Brinstar, because this is where the next items I want to get to is. Last part I mentioned the Crystal Flash. What that is a healing technique that's really unorthodox. The way you do it is that, first off, you have to have 50 or less energy in total, nothing in your reserve tanks, and at least 10 missiles, super missiles, and 11 power bombs. You need to go into Morph Ball, and when you're in Morph Ball, you need to hold down the two aiming buttons, which are L and R, and the fire button to initiate it. This will result in Samus rising into the air into a ball of light, suitless, while her energy tanks rapidly refill. However, the power bombs do need to be selected for this technique, and your ammo supply will drop to 0 in doing so. After that, we got the special charge beam attacks, which are little charge combos. The way this works is that you need to have the charge beam in one beam selected. It could be either the ice beam, the wave beam, the spacer beam, or the one we're going to get towards the end of the game, the plasma beam, and the power bombs. You must select the power bombs with those two beams equipped, and charge up the beam. The charge combo will fire about a second afterwards. It costs one power bomb per shot, and they're not necessary at all. However, they're pretty cool animations, I suppose. And now I'm done with that room. Sweet. Yeah, but... so anyway, so you can speak about that room that we just went through really quickly. To get those items, you do need the speed booster, obviously. But I love how they put 3 items like that in one room, hidden after another. That's pretty funny. Anyway, now that we have the power bombs, we can come down here to what is actually one of my least favorite power-ups in the game. See, the thing is, this is a bit of a reference to Metroid 1. See that energy tank there? There's 3 little fake floors in front of it. You need to jump to get it, otherwise you will fall below here, which means you'll have to backtrack all the way through it. It's an annoying little reference to an area in Ridley's lair on Metroid 1 and Zero Mission. Mind you, in Zero Mission, if you know how to wall jump, you can ignore it completely. And there's a super missile right there. That's nice. By the way, have I mentioned how much I love this song? Super Metroid soundtrack, I think I stated earlier that it's hit or miss with me for the most part. But when I love a song in this game, my god, it's good. Particularly both the Brinstar themes and the lower Norpair theme that we'll get to much later in the game. Anyway, these things here, these little adorable little shits, are the Edacoons. These things will also be in Fusion. They're the ones who teach you, or at least show you, that you can do a wall jump. How you do it, how you figuring out how to do it, is entirely up to you. They're pretty much tutorial monsters that don't really do much. Mind you, as you've noticed, I know how to wall jump already, and there's a power bomb right there, by the way. So, this is essentially the place where you need to figure it out. If you came all the way here and didn't figure out the wall jump, you're kind of screwed because you won't be able to get up there. Especially if you suck at timing it. Oh, Lord. But yeah, that's pretty much the tutorial section for it. Because the thing about the wall jump is they actually don't even tell you it exists in the instruction booklet. Same with the Shinespark. You need to figure those out on your own. I think Fusion's instruction booklet tells you about the Shinespark, but I don't quite remember. I'd have to go and find my Fusion instruction booklet, which is somewhere in my closet in the next room over. Anyway, we speed pushed through those blocks, which also led us down here, so we need a Shinespark out of here. However, this is also where you learn about the Shinespark from this little thing, the Nachora. This thing will run forward and tell you to duck and Shinespark. And one thing I actually have a lot of fun doing is getting it stuck up here. That's actually kind of fun to do. And now we're back in this area where we can get a couple more items, actually. Namely, we can wall jump up to this place where I got a missile tank earlier and get a certain something. Well, first off, we need power bombs because we can progress past this little block. There's an invisible door right there, which took me a while to figure out my first time, admittedly. And once we get rid of these annoying enemies, you might notice there's something kind of odd about the floor right here. Super missile it, and you can fall through it to get another power bomb. Now, I do have to wonder, who placed all this stuff here? Mind you, that's one of the more frequently brought up questions, but still. It makes some amount of sense on the BSL station in Fusion, because that's a station made for science. But this is just a random planet. Mind you, maybe the Chozo did it, because this was one of their home worlds. And where Samus kind of grew up. Now, I might remember in this area as well, there was this power bomb door we weren't able to do anything with earlier, but now we can. You're not supposed to be able... Well, actually, no, you can do it now, but you're not supposed to be able to do this until later. Wall jump up here, and... First off, don't fail at wall jumping. Shoot that little barrier thing, and you can make it fine just... Well, through just fine to get to this room, which contains our next energy tank. If you haven't figured it out by now as well, energy tanks, when you collect them, also refill your health to max. And there's a total of 14 of them. I don't remember how many max power bombs and super missiles there are. I want to say around 45 to 50. Also, if there's ever a locked door in your path like this one, I think you can shoot it beforehand when you first unlock it if you need to exit the door multiple times in order to keep it unlocked. But do not quote me on that. It's been a while since I tried that. Then again, I think I do it later on in a certain wrecked area. Anyway, now we can enter this door with the power bombs. And come back to a very familiar-looking area of Brinstar. We're actually right towards where we got the Morph Ball. Or Morphing Ball, as the game refers to it for some reason. I don't get that. Why did they do that? Anyway, got another power bomb here. However, in the room where I got the energy tank on earlier in the game with the bomb jump, there's actually something else we can do there now, so we want to continue onwards. Who knew there was a power bomb in the first game just to the left of where Samus was? She just couldn't get it. Then again, for some reason, in the amount of years between this and 1, for some reason this entire planet's ecosystem changed. Aside from this one area and the Tourian area just above us. What you gonna do? Now we blow it up with the power bomb. What you need to do now is Shinespark up that little hole. And not hit your face in the process. And you come up here. This is kind of a tricky part what you have to do here. It took me a couple tries, actually. You need to time a jump into the door, because the one thing the game doesn't tell you is that you can carry your momentum through a door into the next screen. But if you jump just right, you can land on that invisible platform and get to this missile tank. You're not supposed to be able to get to this room until a bit later in the game, until we get another suit upgrade, but we can do that now if you know how to do that trick. And by the way, there's another missile tank right there. That took me a while to find my first playthrough. Very cleverly hidden. And now we're actually back towards this little underwater tube here in Brinstar. Powerbomb it and move it all, and it'll crack open. We'll come back to this later. But for now, we want to head back to UpKraids layer, actually, so don't go down that elevator like I do, like an idiot. Now, where we want to go in UpKraids layer, it's only to get a single missile tank, actually. But back in this area, in UpKraids layer, we can power bomb right here. And get this missile tank. And we're done in UpKraids layer. That's all we came here for. But with that, and me heading back to that elevator to get back to Norfair, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 5 I'll be doing some more stuff in Norfair, getting many more upgrades in the process, along with facing off with a certain boss. See you guys then!